So, as he said, my name is Melissa. I am a developer product marketing leader on the platform team at Slack. So I'm here today to talk to you about app messages on Slack and how to reimagine bot UI, maximize real estate layout, and make the information that these bots deliver to users more parsable, actionable, ultimately helping users get more work done faster on Slack. So for anyone who has used Slack, you know how quickly information passes through. I'm sure that you have been challenged in the ability to parse information as it moves very quickly, maybe even take action on a message that you receive either from a peer or a bot or an app. I also think that, for me personally, I have experienced an interaction with a bot where it just dumps a ton, like a wall of information into a DM or a channel, and I either A, don't have the time or patience to read through all of it because it seems so dense, or B, even if I do read through it all, what on earth do I do with it? How do I take action on this information next? So, introducing Blockkit. Slack recently released a new UI framework called Blockkit, which now opens up the ability for Slack app developers to customize their bot UI and the order of information in a message. And this is achievable through a portfolio of stackable bits of UI or components called blocks. And I can get into that a little bit later about what exactly we released in V1 of this portfolio of blocks. But first, why did we do this? There are a variety of benefits unlocked by Blockkit. First and foremost is the ability, like I said, to customize, which allows for more control over the appearance of your app, order of information, and general layout of the message. Second, this is possible with blocks, like I said, which are prepackaged snippets of UI, which enables simpler, streamlined app design. I don't want to flat out say it eliminates the need for a designer, but I've heard from various apps that are out in the wild. Guru, if you guys use Guru, is an example of one who actually, instead of going back and forth in the iterative process of building apps, app messages, app UI, they're able to do it right within the Blockkit builder, which I'll talk about a little bit later as a prototyping tool that we're using. Also, it provides more consistency across desktop and mobile as an inherent improvement with Blockkit. And now it's easier to implement ongoing improvements to your app as we release future blocks, which we will, as well as future functionality and open up Blockkit into new canvases and surface areas on Slack like modals and dialogues. So here are the blocks that we have released. I didn't realize this was a build slide. The section block is it's just a container for text, and it can be coupled with other blocks to create inline actions and images. The image block is exactly what it sounds like. It's a container for an image that can be half or full width the actual Slack client, and it also comes with the ability to add a title as a caption. We also released the context block, which is a space for subtext or metadata or just helpful additional information. And I'll be showing examples of how this all plays out later when you bundle them together. The divider block is really simple, but it's actually my favorite because it's just a simple separator between information, which really helps with that parsing of really dense information. And the actions block, all the way on the right there, provides interactive components for your app's call to action. So instead of just receiving a ton of information from an app, there's the ability now to either at the bottom of a message or in line with the contextual information of a message, you can add message buttons, message overflow menus, as well as the newly released date picker, which you'll see in the bottom right there. So how do these apply to a bot's message? Here's an example of a calendar notification in Slack. So you'll see some dividers have made something that would normally be text-heavy information way more readable. There's also a context block calling out another meeting that conflicts with this time. And where other times are being proposed or recommended by the bot, you'll see the inline message button that correspond directly with that information. So I think it's actually helpful to see some examples of apps before and after Blockkit in the wild. So Slack Foundry is actually Slack Foundry is an app designed by Slack to help Slack users get acquainted with the platform. Here you see a quiz that is a part of the onboarding process meant to help users understand some of the new functionality as they get acquainted with Slack. The quiz here is sent in 2 messages, actually. The first message is the prompt and the question, and the second message is the ability to answer the question with those message buttons. So it's a very linear experience for the user. Here is the after Blockkit. It doesn't look that different. However, in terms of user experience and interface with the message, a divider is added to distinctly separate the question from the potential answer, and it actually is all delivered in one single message, and the buttons are aligned to the actual answers that they can select instead of linear beneath. Another example, I mentioned Guru already, but another example is Guru and Knowledge Management tool and the updates that they made to their app. Here you see a user must enter a command to list feeds, and in order to remove a feed, they'll need to type another command, including the very long string of the feed ID. After Blockkit, you'll see again the user experience is a little more straightforward and cleaned up. Inline action message buttons where it says remove feed make it more simple and straightforward for users to do exactly that, remove a feed and make the process a little less complex. And a final before and after example is Triagebot. Here you see a pre-Blockkit message summarizing triage issues in channel. Information is dense and hard to read. And once you get through all of it, how do you even take action on this information? So here is after Blockkit. Using Blockkit, the message is cleaned up using dividers and context blocks, and there's obviously inline message buttons there, which provide helpful call to action for the actual information. And I would also like to point out that this also takes up less surface area in the user screen, opening up more opportunity for more information and more messaging. So while it's helpful to see before and after examples, I think it's also inspiring to see what's possible with this new functionality in a net new way. So I want to highlight Doodlebot, and it's a new third-party app on Slack, a new basic poll creation app that allows users to create and send polls to find shared meeting time availability. So what's exciting here specifically, which I haven't quite highlighted in the wild yet, is the use of the date picker, which you might have just seen there, as well as a time picker. So how do you get started? On the Slack API site, there are quite a few resources, from documentation to how-tos. What's special with Blockkit is the Blockkit builder. It's basically a tool for prototyping app messages by selecting blocks on the left-hand side, building out a message, and it not only shows how the message will render in the Slack client, but it also shows all of the back-end code that supports that message. You can also click the payload button within the builder, which allows you to see the kind of payload it would deliver in JSON. Another item that is housed in the Blockkit builder are templates. So if you don't really know how to get started, or if you have an idea, or if you don't have an app yet that you want to upgrade with Blockkit, you can start there, from notification bots to approval apps or onboarding, polling, search results, and more. They're basically pre-built common use cases that you can select, pre-populate in the builder, you can customize, then copy and paste the actual code into the back end of your own app. So I encourage you to visit our API site, api.slack.com/Blockkit, and start playing around with how you can customize UI on Slack. And also, I kind of blanked on including a slide on this, but our annual conference in San Francisco is at the end of April, April 24th and 25th. And there's actually going to be a whole day dedicated to Blockkit workshops, hands-on mentoring, meeting with some of our Blockkit designers if you want to upgrade your app, start building a new app with this particular feature. So check that out. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference.